What if I told you that the biggest steal in modern NFL history wasn't a first-round draft pick, wasn't a record-breaking trade, and wasn't a billion-dollar free agency gamble, but a fifth-round selection that cost almost nothing and is now quietly reshaping the business of football? What if I told you that while analysts argued over arm strength, mechanics, and draft position, a billionaire owner was sitting back, studying jersey sales, tracking Google Trends, watching global engagement metrics, and realizing he had just stumbled onto something far more valuable than a quarterback? He had secured a global phenomenon. Because that is exactly what is unfolding with Shadur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns, and the deeper you look, the clearer it becomes that this story was never just about football. It was about leverage. It was about branding. It was about cultural gravity. And most importantly, it was about vision. When executives evaluate players, they talk about film, stats, and upside. But true power brokers, owners, look at something else entirely. They look at impact. They look at economics. They ask the kind of questions that shift dynasties. How many times is this player being searched globally? How many jerseys is he moving? How much engagement is he generating in markets we've never touched? What is his cap hit? And when the answers come back, number 1 in rookie jersey sales, top 3 worldwide Google searches, viral traction across continents, and a salary that barely scratches $500,000 per year, the conversation stops being about a depth chart and starts being about empire building. That's where Jimmy Haslam enters the picture. Jimmy Haslam is not just the owner of the Cleveland Browns. He is a businessman who built billion-dollar enterprises long before he ever touched an NFL roster. Businessmen understand margins. They understand return on investment. They understand asset acquisition. And what Haslam acquired in the 5th round of the draft with the 144th pick wasn't just a quarterback. It was undervalued intellectual property wrapped in a helmet and jersey. While other franchises burn $30 to $40 million guaranteed on first-round passers who may or may not develop, Haslam locked in a cultural lightning rod for roughly $500,000 a year. That's not just smart drafting. That's asymmetric leverage. Let's break this down carefully because the numbers are staggering. A 5th-round rookie contract over 4 years will total roughly $2 million. That's less than some veteran backups make in a single season. Meanwhile, jersey revenue alone, especially when a player ranks number 1 among rookies, can generate tens of millions in gross sales league-wide. Add in increased ticket demand, sponsorship negotiations, international expansion markets, and brand visibility, and suddenly that $2 million investment starts looking like venture capital backing the next tech unicorn. And while the media debates whether Shedeur was overhyped or NFL ready, Haslam is likely studying spreadsheets showing global spikes in engagement from Dubai, Ghana, Germany, the Philippines, Brazil, London, and beyond. But here's where it gets even more interesting. This momentum isn't manufactured hype. It isn't artificial buzz generated by marketing agencies. It's organic. Fans across continents are reacting emotionally to Shadur Sanders. Adults with 9 to 5 jobs are posting videos of themselves opening Browns jerseys and getting visibly emotional. Young athletes are modeling their game and confidence after him. Social feeds light up whenever he steps onto a field. That kind of connection cannot be bought. It cannot be engineered. It either exists or it doesn't. And with Shedeur, it exists in abundance. Even analysts who have no cultural or personal affiliation with the Sanders brand have acknowledged what's happening. When former NFL quarterback and current analyst Chase Daniel publicly stated that the Browns did not exactly put Shedeur in the best positions yet he still performed admirably, that mattered. That wasn't blind fandom. That was film-based evaluation. It was acknowledgement that even under imperfect circumstances, the kid could play. And when neutral observers begin speaking up, narratives shift. Suddenly this isn't about hype. It's about evidence. On the field, Shedeur has demonstrated poise, pocket awareness, and production. Multiple 300-yard games. Command presence. Leadership traits that extend beyond stat sheets. But off the field is where the business case becomes overwhelming. His name recognition stretches far beyond traditional NFL markets. His appeal bridges generations. He resonates with culture in a way very few quarterbacks ever have. That resonance is what transforms players into brands. And brands into empires. The Browns, meanwhile, are navigating an expensive reality with veteran quarterback Deshaun Watson. Watson carries a massive guaranteed contract, making him financially immovable in the near term. Cutting or trading him would trigger an enormous cap penalty. But rather than view that as a burden, the Browns appear to have positioned it as strategic insulation. Watson becomes veteran insurance. A bridge. A mentor. A fallback option if necessary. That allows Shedeur time to grow without immediate pressure while still capitalizing on his market presence. This mirrors historic quarterback transitions. The Green Bay Packers once transitioned from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers with patience and foresight. The Kansas City Chiefs did the same with Alex Smith mentoring Patrick Mahomes before Mahomes exploded onto the league. Championship organizations understand timing. They understand incubation. They understand that sustainable dominance requires alignment between talent development and financial strategy. What makes this situation different is the marketing velocity attached to the developmental timeline. Shedeur is not waiting to become relevant. He is relevant now. His jersey outselling higher draft picks is not just a statistic. It's a signal. It signals consumer demand. It signals emotional investment. It signals narrative traction. And when you combine that with a new stadium projected to open in 2029, the long-term business implications become enormous. Personal seat licenses, corporate sponsorship packages, international broadcasting rights, star power accelerates all of it. There's also a cultural component that cannot be ignored. Representation matters. A young black quarterback handling adversity with composure, refusing to publicly blame coaches, standing confidently at podiums, and embodying resilience resonates deeply across communities. When NBA legends like Dwayne Wade publicly praise Shedeur's leadership and presence, it underscores that this influence extends beyond football. It reflects cross-sport respect, cross-cultural admiration. That kind of endorsement amplifies visibility exponentially. Critics may argue that hype can fade, that market's cool, that draft position matters. But markets respond to sustained engagement. And Shedeur's engagement metrics are not fleeting spikes, they are sustained waves. Google Trends doesn't lie. Global merchandise demand doesn't lie. Viral international content doesn't lie. These are indicators of brand durability. And owners who understand business cycles know how rare that is. Imagine the scenario 3 years from now. The Browns' new stadium opens. Shedeur enters his 4th year on a bargain rookie deal while performing at a high level. PSL sales surge. Corporate partnerships increase. Merchandise revenue expands internationally. The Browns transition from a regional franchise to a global property. That transformation alone could generate hundreds of millions in long-term valuation growth. All initiated by a 5th-round selection. This is why insiders believe the long-term decision may already be quietly made. It's not about competition narratives. It's not about draft debates. It's about alignment between performance and profitability. If Shedeur continues producing on the field while driving global engagement off it, the equation becomes simple. You don't move off that asset. You build around it. And here's the final truth. The league thrives on disruption. Every generation produces a player who shifts perception. Sometimes it's through championships. Sometimes through charisma. Sometimes through timing. Shadur Sanders represents a convergence of all three forces: talent, visibility, and narrative. Owners who recognize convergence early position themselves ahead of the curve. So now the question isn't whether this was a good 5th-round pick. The question is whether we are witnessing the early stages of one of the most profitable quarterback investments in modern NFL history. Because if current trends hold, Jimmy Haslam may have turned a modest draft selection into a billion-dollar brand accelerator. If you believe this is more than hype, if you see the economic chessboard behind the highlight reels, then stay locked in. Like this video if you understand the business angle. Drop a comment and tell me whether you think Shedeur is already the Browns' future. And most importantly, subscribe so you don't miss what happens next, because this story is far from finished, and the next chapter might redefine how we evaluate quarterbacks forever. And here's where the conversation shifts from possibility to inevitability. Because once you understand the business mechanics behind what's happening, the next phase becomes crystal clear. The league may talk about quarterback competitions, preseason battles, depth chart politics, and media narratives, but ownership thinks in timelines. Ownership thinks in return cycles. Ownership thinks in brand trajectory. And if the internal projections inside the Browns front office match even half of the public momentum surrounding Shadur Sanders, then what we're watching right now isn't a quarterback controversy. It's a controlled rollout. The first phase was acquisition. Quiet. Low risk. Minimal investment. 5th-round selection. No national outrage. No headline pressure. The second phase is validation. Let the kid step on the field. Let him throw for 300+ yards. Let him show poise when protection breaks down. Let him answer tough questions without blaming teammates. Let independent analysts admit he wasn't exactly set up for success but still delivered. Let the market react naturally. And the market did react. Now comes phase 3, consolidation. Because once ownership sees sustained global engagement, jersey sales holding strong, social impressions climbing, international fan pages multiplying, the next logical move isn't panic drafting. It's stability. Stability allows brand growth. Stability builds familiarity. Familiarity builds loyalty. And loyalty converts into revenue over decades, not months. The Cleveland Browns historically have not been viewed as a glamour franchise. They've battled inconsistency, quarterback turnover, coaching changes, and front office reshuffles. But every franchise has a moment where identity crystallizes. For the Dallas Cowboys, that identity merged with branding under Jerry Jones. For the Kansas City Chiefs, it surged into global prominence with Patrick Mahomes. For the Green Bay Packers, it was sustained through quarterback succession from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. Cleveland's opportunity is different. This isn't just about winning games. It's about redefining perception. Right now, Shadur Sanders represents momentum. Momentum is the most undervalued currency in sports. You cannot manufacture it on command. You cannot purchase it outright. You have to recognize it while it's forming and then protect it. The Browns, under Jimmy Haslam, appear to be doing exactly that. Consider the psychology of fans. When supporters feel like they are early believers in something special, they invest deeper. They defend harder. They evangelize louder. Every viral clip of a fan in Germany holding up a Browns jersey, every video from Dubai celebrating a touchdown, every post from Nigeria showing a kid practicing quarterback drills wearing number 12, those are not isolated incidents. Those are emotional anchors. And emotional anchors create lifelong loyalty. From a pure economic standpoint, the calculus becomes almost unfair. Shadur's rookie contract remains microscopic compared to his revenue generation potential. Meanwhile, the presence of Deshaun Watson on the roster acts as financial insulation. The Browns do not need to rush anything. They can evaluate development while continuing to monetize global attention. Watson's contract may be heavy on the books, but it also provides a buffer, an experienced veteran who can start if necessary, allowing Shadur's ascent to remain deliberate rather than chaotic. And here's the part most commentators miss. Perception compounds faster than statistics. If Shadur delivers another strong performance, another 300-yard outing, another poised 2-minute drive, the narrative accelerates. Media outlets that once questioned him pivot toward redemption arcs. Former skeptics reposition themselves as cautious believers. National segments debate whether he should start full-time. Debate equals airtime. Airtime equals exposure. Exposure equals market expansion. The NFL thrives on storyline gravity. When a young quarterback becomes the center of weekly discourse, the entire franchise benefits. Primetime scheduling improves. Sponsorship rates rise. International broadcasting partners take notice. And suddenly Cleveland isn't just playing games. Cleveland is hosting events. Fast forward to 2027 or 2028. If performance aligns with marketability, even at 80% of current projection, the Browns' franchise valuation could surge dramatically. New stadium buzz amplifies everything. Personal seat license demand spikes. Corporate partners align with the narrative of resilience and youth. Youth participation programs across global markets begin associating with the Browns brand. This is how dynasties are built, not just through Lombardi trophies but through sustained cultural imprint. Critics will still exist. There will always be skeptics who argue draft position defines ceiling. There will be comparisons to other quarterbacks selected earlier. But draft order fades quickly when production and profitability align. If Shadur continues demonstrating leadership, maturity, and statistical competence, draft position becomes a footnote. And leadership may ultimately be his most powerful asset. Teammates gravitate toward composure. Veterans respect accountability. Coaches trust preparation. When a young quarterback refuses to publicly assign blame, even under pressure, locker rooms notice. That internal respect is invisible to fans but invaluable to organizational stability. There is also a generational shift occurring in how quarterbacks are evaluated. The modern NFL quarterback is not only a field general but a brand ambassador, digital presence, and cultural symbol. Shadur entered the league already fluent in that ecosystem. He understands visibility. He understands narrative. He understands how to maintain confidence without alienating teammates. That fluency reduces adaptation time. It accelerates integration. Now imagine the 2029 stadium opening. Imagine sold-out seats months in advance. Imagine international fans planning travel packages specifically to watch number 12 at home. Imagine corporate hospitality suites booked years ahead because the Browns are suddenly appointment viewing. That is not fantasy if engagement metrics sustain. Ownership doesn't need perfection. They need upward trajectory. And upward trajectory is precisely what the data currently suggests. So the next chapter isn't about proving he belongs. It's about scaling the impact. Will the Browns publicly anoint him immediately? Maybe not. Controlled competition keeps pressure balanced. But internally, the long-term calculus may already favor continuity over experimentation. Drafting another quarterback high while sitting on a global marketing engine would be redundant at best and destabilizing at worst. The smartest move for Cleveland may simply be patience. Let development unfold naturally. Let the veteran contract absorb short-term volatility. Let global fandom continue compounding. Let the narrative mature organically. Because when organic growth intersects with strategic patience, you create something extremely difficult to disrupt. And that brings us to the real question moving forward. Can performance keep pace with expectation? Because if it does, even moderately, the Browns won't just have found a quarterback. They will have found an era. The league will adjust. Defensive coordinators will study tendencies. Media will intensify scrutiny. Pressure will rise. But pressure also refines stars. The true test will not be a single breakout game. It will be consistency across seasons. If Shedeur delivers that consistency, then the fifth-round label becomes historic trivia. Analysts will revisit draft coverage with hindsight humility. Commentators will frame him as one of the greatest value picks of his generation. And ownership will quietly acknowledge that they recognized opportunity before consensus formed. This story is still being written. But every metric, every emotional fan reaction, every sales report, every highlight clip suggests we are in the early chapters of something far bigger than a depth chart debate. And here's the truth. Sports history rewards those who recognize inflection points early. We may very well be witnessing one right now. If you see what's happening here, if you understand that this isn't just about football but about business, branding, and a potential shift in NFL history, then don't just watch from the sidelines. Hit that like button if you believe Shadur Sanders is more than just a fifth-round pick. Drop a comment right now and tell me, do you think he's already the future of the Browns, or is this hype moving too fast? I want to hear your take. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications because this story is unfolding in real time, and the next chapter could change everything. We're breaking down the business, the culture, and the football side of it all. No filters, no delays. Share this video with someone who still doubts. And stay locked in, because this movement is just getting started.